In this episode, I'll be sharing 7 tips to improve your course videos.
Welcome to the Online Course Coach podcast, brought to you by TrueFocusMedia.com. Whether you're a beginner or expert, this is the podcast for the latest in online course creation tips, news, interviews, and ideas. And here's your coach, Jeff Long.
Welcome back to another episode of the Online Course Coach podcast. Today, we'll be talking about how to improve your course videos, how to make them more effective, how to make them even easier for you to create so that they can be more effective for your students. And we've been talking about videos in the past couple podcasts. And right before we get into that content, I have a really big announcement of something that I've been working on for a while. And before I want to share those details, I want to talk about a common problem I've been seeing over the years. We all want to be successful course creators that are making an impact and obviously creating income, right? That's a good thing. And I've had the opportunity to coach a lot of people. I've created a lot of videos over the years, probably hundreds, if not thousands. And I've seen a lot of courses, but I've also seen how many people struggle with the technology of the equipment and software or the cost of buying the wrong equipment. And I've also had a lot of people tell me how much they don't like being on camera. So, whether you struggle with the technology, the cost of what to buy, or you don't like being on camera, there is a barrier to entry that many people don't overcome. And in a way, that's a good thing because if you want to be a successful course creator, while it is easier than ever, there is that barrier to entry of the technology, the learning curve, and all of that that's involved. And I want to help you create effective online courses. I mean, that's why I've been doing all these free podcast episodes over the years. Have created a lot of Facebook Live videos and have all the content on my website. But I really wanted to put everything together in an easy to follow along system. So I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, but the good news is that I have finally put the finishing touches on Easy Video for Courses. And it includes 10 modules that addresses the issues that people face when creating course content. So at the end of this podcast, I'll go a little more in depth, maybe just a couple minutes about what each module contains. But let me quickly list the titles of each module to see if it's a good fit for you. So module 1 is the most effective types of videos for online courses and when to use each. And some of those don't even have to be on camera. Module number 2 is DIY smartphone video for courses, how to use your smartphone or tablet to create videos. Number 3 is easy screen capture tips and tricks. I talk about the software to use, some of the different setups I do, and some of the tips and tricks to make it go faster. Where to find professional graphics at bargain prices, because even if you're making videos or PowerPoints or whatever you're doing, you need really good graphics and images, and I give you my go-to resources that are pretty cheap. The 5th module is 7 strategies to get confident in front of the camera. So I share my systems on how I have done that with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, online influencers, and course creators. And I know you'll get confidence to be in front of the camera from that module. Module number 6 is creative teaching strategies to make effective course content. Number 7, video equipment and software, quality options from free to advanced. So we talk about video cameras, video editing, and all that good stuff from free to advanced. Module number 8 is lighting techniques and equipment to use. So we go through those details. Number 9, getting great sounding audio in all your videos, no matter your budget. And I talk about my microphones that you might consider. And then number 10 is putting it all together. How do you get your video files organized, online, and ready to sell in your online course? And I talk about the hosting companies that I do recommend and the one popular, huge, gigantic video hosting company that I absolutely do not recommend you use for your course videos. So again, I'll go a little bit more in depth on some of the key topics of those modules at the end of this podcast, but that will just give you a little bit of information on what the content is. Now, I know how expensive it can be to hire a video production company to produce course videos because I've had a lot of people hire me over the years and it costs thousands of dollars to do it right. But I realize not everyone needs the bells and whistles of hiring a production company because you know what? Technology has made it easier and cheaper to do it yourself. And I'll show you how. In fact, I'm offering a $50 discount to you as a thank you for listening to me and this podcast over the years. So if you go to easyvideoforcourses.com and enter the coupon code podcast, so it's just the word podcast, PODCAST, then I'll give you $50 off the price. And I'll also include a bonus called the DIY Video Studio Guide, which gives my favorite equipment and software to use without breaking the bank. It's a really simple to look at document with links. You can just go there immediately and get what you need to get. So don't forget to stay at the end where I'll give you some more details about the course module so you can determine if it's a good fit for you. Or you can go to easyvideoforcourses.com, learn more, and get the course if it works for your needs. So I'm really excited about that. I'm trying to keep this short because I don't want this to be a big ad for the course. But in other podcasts, I'll keep it even shorter. How's that for a deal? Well, let's get into the content here today, which is 7 tips to improve your course videos. And I'm just going to be completely transparent. I've actually recorded this podcast a second time. I have this podcast all edited, all ready to go. I actually uploaded it to get sent out, but I just wasn't comfortable with it. I felt like maybe I didn't take enough time to plan and prepare. And even though the old version was pretty good, this new version I think is phenomenal. So, I just wanted you to know that I'm always trying to improve myself. Just like with your courses, you might want to go back and update things and improve things. And I do that even with this podcast. Even though it's free, I want it to be as good as it can be. So number one, let's talk about at the very beginning when you are planning your course. So this is a tip to improve your course videos even before you record anything. So number one is keep your ideas, your scripts, and your course content outlined using software like Evernote or Google Docs. One of the reasons I like this is because it's everywhere on any device and it's synced together. So if you make a change on your Evernote app on your phone, it automatically changes and updates on your computer, on your tablet, or wherever you are. Same thing with Google Docs. Now, I know Microsoft Word has greatly improved with some of their cloud syncing and features. Personally, and maybe because I haven't used Microsoft Word for so long, I've just become so dependent on Evernote. But with Evernote, you can create notebooks, which are like folders. You can put notes in them. You can have tags so they interrelate to each other. You can really tie everything together and keep it all nice and organized. So I like to have a course notebook for every single course. And then for module 1, I have a document, module 2, module 3, and I can really go through step by step. And for some of my mini courses and other things that I've done, I might just have one document and maybe I have, different ideas, different thoughts. So really keeping your ideas, your scripts, and your course content outlined in an easy to use system is key. So, hey, if you are a Microsoft Office person, and that makes sense, no sense learning a new system if you don't want to. So whatever you use, make sure you're using it. Make sure you're not just scribbling it down on a napkin and then you're looking for, all the 50 napkins you've compiled over the last couple weeks. And, one of your kids used it to wipe their messy face with ketchup. And now module 3 is ruined, right? So if you are not a digital person, which I have some family members, I don't want to name them personally, but they are not digital people. They'd rather handwrite it. But I just know the value and the safety of keeping things digitized. All right, I think you get the idea with that. Number 2 is ask your audience. Create a survey using Google Forms or SurveyMonkey. And not only ask what content would be helpful, ask what are some of the things you're struggling with, because those 2 things will help you create the content. But thirdly, ask what types of videos they like most and what they would learn the best from. Because, sometimes if you're creating something hands on, they really need to see that. Or if you're showing them how to build a website, they really need to see that. Or if you are at a rental property showing people how to invest in real estate, they need to see that. They don't need to see just a boring PowerPoint the entire time. So ask them what they would learn best from. And just be warned, it might not be the easiest type of video for you to create. But I think that's in your advantage because if your students know that you're creating the exact type of content and videos for them, they're going to be more likely to buy from you versus the other course creator that just has, some boring content or a PowerPoint with, tons of content on it that you have to read and it just won't be as engaging. So number 2, again, survey your audience and ask what types of video they like the most and would learn the best from. All right, number 3, if you do use slides, don't have your slides be a brain dump of information. All right, don't put your, years or decades or whatever that is of information, of knowledge on the slides. Put a couple of few key points or even one statement that you talk about. If you've ever seen TED Talks, a lot of times they're just one image, one word, or maybe even up to 3 words, but it's usually very, very short. And use that as a jumping off point to talk about what's on the slide, to tell stories. So you don't just need to read from your slide, hey, in 1964, the blah, 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 blah. You just drone on and on. Use stories, engage them. And that's why keeping simple slides are better than having a brain dump of information. Number 4, use the know, feel, and do method to reach different learning styles and to make your courses more effective. So I talked about this in a past episode, so I don't want to go into, all the nitty gritty like I did. But if you go to onlinecoursecoach.com/podcast or go to the podcast tab, you can find that recent podcast. But use the know, feel, and do method. Most courses just have what you need to know. Hey, know this, know that. There's 10 modules, you'll know it. And we all think that we're going to be a master of that content. And that's not how it works. So the first thing is, yes, you do need to teach them the content. You need to convey that message. You need to transfer that information to them. But secondly, you need to let them know how they can feel. If you do real estate investing courses, you need to let the person know, hey, imagine what it would be like if you had, 1 property or 10 properties or however many properties that is, and you had the cash flow coming in, you had an investment strategy, you were able to do more, leverage your money, leverage your income, and have more success. I mean, that feels better than just, hey, here's the 10 things you need to know about real estate investing, right? Paint the picture for them. Paint what the success will look like. Paint how the knowing the content will change their life, will improve their life. And we don't need to get kind of scammy. You know how some of those internet marketers, they kind of go overboard with, the feeling side or the success. They promise the world, but chances are, maybe they had one success story and everybody else was a failure or something, but they only focus on the one success story. So we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but you definitely want to let your students feel the emotion of what it'll be like once they go through that content. And then thirdly, tell them what they should do with the content. And sometimes this isn't just telling them. Sometimes this is letting them explore what they need to do. So maybe it's a couple questions at the end of your course and say, hey, what are the 3 things you need to do with this module? Or who do you need to email or text with this information? Or maybe it's, hey, student, put the one thing you learned in the Facebook group. You really want them to think about what the content is, to create a plan so that they're not just watching it and going on to the next thing, but they're really thinking of how to implement that content. So again, use the know, feel, and do method to reach different learning styles and to have that content sink in. Number 5, if you don't want to be on camera, get creative with alternative videos. I have a whole A ton of these in the easy video for courses content. But for now, I'll give you a couple here that I recommend. So you could create a video where you only show your hands, or maybe you have somebody ask you questions off camera. So get creative with different types of videos. It doesn't always have to be you looking into the camera. In fact, that's, a lot of my courses I've done personally or for clients are not just that one format. So think of how you could create videos with being creative. Like I said, maybe it's just using your hands. Maybe it's, let's say it's a woodworking course. You don't even have to have your face in it the whole time or at all. Maybe it's just your hands creating that thing. Or maybe you want to have an interview style where somebody is asking you questions either on camera or off camera. One of my coaching students right now has a couple courses, and in a couple of the modules, it's just her giving the information. And then in the reflection part or the do part, it's her and another person in chairs talking to each other about how to apply the material, how they've seen other families apply the material, success stories. And it's really engaging because that's a conversation, not just the teacher talking to the student. But the most important thing I see is that you don't underestimate the expertise you provide. I find that a lot of people get nervous on camera because they're really focusing more on themselves than their students. And so once you envision your student and teaching your student and helping your student, I find that most people get more comfortable in front of the camera. You don't have to be a world famous expert on your topic, right? You just have to be one step ahead of your students. And then lastly, know that you are your worst critic. All right. While you think you might look or sound strange, I promise you, your students won't even notice. Now, this is something I've had to get over, both with the podcast here as well as being on camera. When I listen to myself or watch myself, I'm like, oh man, do I look like that? Do I sound like that? Do I do that? Do I, and so it's common. It's rare that people feel comfortable on camera. I've done video production since 2003, have done hundreds, if not thousands, of videos for very successful people, online influencers, course creators. Most of them get nervous too. Most of them make lots of mistakes. And that's the beauty of editing is you can edit those out. Okay. So again, know that most people are not comfortable in front of the camera, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And so use those tips I just recommended with getting creative with some different videos, knowing that you are teaching your students and that you are your own worst critic and trying to get over that. All right, so number 6 is if you're filming with your iPhone or webcam, turn off notifications, put your phone in airplane mode, and remove all distractions. So if you're on your phone, I recommend putting it in airplane mode and turning off distractions, even putting it in vibrate just as a safety, right? You don't want to be filming with your phone and all of a sudden something happens, an alarm goes off or something like that, or a notification comes in and you have to stop and turn it off or address it and then come back and remember where you were and it's not going to sound or look the same. So just turn off notifications and put your phone in airplane mode. If you're using a webcam, same thing, turn off notifications on your computer and even put your phone in airplane mode or, turn it on silent mode. Again, the goal is to remove any distractions primarily for you. So you don't, look at your smartwatch, you don't look at your phone, your tablet, all these distractions. Maybe you need to shut the door and tell your friends or family, hey, I'm recording a course. Please don't interrupt me. So make sure that you remove those distractions. All right, before we get into the 7th tip to improve your course videos, let's review. Number 1, keep your ideas, scripts, and course content all in one place. I recommend Evernote or Google Docs. Number 2, survey your audience using something like Google Forms or SurveyMonkey and ask what type of video they like most and would learn the best from. Number 3, if you use slides, don't have all your whole entire brain on a slide. Put a couple key points or images. Number 4, use the know, feel, and do method. Number 5, if you don't want to be on camera, get creative and get the focus off of you and onto your students. Number 6, if you're filming with your smartphone or webcam, turn off notifications and put your phone in airplane mode. And then number 7, and I was just talking with one of my coaching students today, number 7 is buy an external hard drive to store your course videos. I was talking to my coaching student today, and she was saying, she keeps getting this message on her computer, and she was wondering what it was, and it's because her hard drive is filling up. So she's using her webcam. So I recommend using Dropbox or Google Drive to sync your files online, as well as using an external hard drive. So you could use one or both of those. So if you use an external hard drive, you could then duplicate it or copy it to Dropbox. Or if you don't want to do an external hard drive, you could just use Dropbox and Google Drive. It will put a folder on your computer that you can sync online. That way it's backed up. If your computer crashes, you have access to it, because you really want to be able to access these files in the future if you ever need to change something. I can't tell you how frustrating it is when I get a client that calls me and they created a course, and they're missing module 1, 2, 5, and 7, right? And they have to redo it, and it's frustrating for them. It takes time. They have to go through their scripts and think about everything. So buy an external hard drive to store your course videos. I also recommend using Dropbox or Google Drive to sync those files online. All right, so those are the 7 tips to improve your course videos. So no matter where you are in the course process, write those down. If you haven't created your course yet, you'll definitely want to use those tips. If you've already created your first course, you might want to go back and see how you can improve your existing course videos. Or if you're thinking about creating your next course, definitely use this as well. Well, hey, let me talk for a minute about easy video for courses. And let me just say, the reason I created this is because one of the biggest problems is the technology, the software, being comfortable on camera, all those things that keep people from creating their course. And I think it's a shame, because imagine, what if you could get over those, right? What if you knew the technology that you could use, and it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be complicated. What if you knew the software to use to host your videos and to edit them and to do screen captures? And then what if you felt more comfortable, more confident on camera? Or even if you're not on camera, what if you were more capable and competent creating your videos, and it took you less time and it was less frustrating, so you could actually get your course up and to your students? I mean, how amazing that would be. How probably a breath of fresh air, right? If that was behind you, if you haven't created your course, or if you struggled through the first one and you want to improve your course or create a better one, if you could have that all behind you, I know that would be a huge relief. And that's really why I created Easy Video for Courses. So let me just go over real briefly the 10 modules and what the course includes. Don't forget, if you go to easyvideoforcourses.com, I'm offering that $50 discount as a thank you to all of you for listening to me for over these years. And you also get that bonus of the DIY Video Studio Guide, which gives my favorite equipment and software to use without breaking the bank. Well, here's just a brief overview of what the Easy Video for Courses modules contain. So the first module is the most effective types of videos for online courses and when to use each. So I outline and I go over in depth the 7 types of videos to consider for your course videos, and 3 types of videos where you don't even have to be on camera at all. The second module is DIY smartphone video for courses, because some of you might want to use your smartphone or your tablet to create your content instead of a video camera. And we have another module just on other types of video cameras. But this one is all about your smartphone or tablet. We go over my recommended equipment to get the best out of your smartphone, the right apps to use, how to edit videos directly from your smartphone, even my favorite teleprompter app. If you have a script or concepts you want to convey, there's some really cool teleprompter apps. I give you the best one that I use and recommend. And then how to get the videos off your phone and onto your computer. That is one of the hardest things for people to do. So that is module number 2, DIY smartphone video for courses. Number 3 is easy screen capture tips and tricks. I give my step-by-step system that I've used to create hundreds of screen capture videos over the years. I give you the simple and fast setup to get the most out of the screen capture software, whether you're on your PC or Mac, and how to make your screen capture videos look professionally made without a lot of time spent making them. Module number 4 is where to find professional graphics at bargain prices. So I give you my go-to resources for graphics to use in your videos, where to find PowerPoint templates that you can quickly customize. That's a pretty cool tip there. And even stock photos or videos that look great but aren't expensive. Module number 7 is 7 strategies to get confident in front of the camera. So I give you my simple system for being on camera, delivering your best content, all without freaking out and getting nervous. I also talk about what to wear on camera to make you look your best and how to write a script without reading it on camera. Module number 6 is creative teaching strategies to make effective course content. So, where to find people that are looking for your expertise and how to create content for them, simple ways to create content that your students will remember forever, and the easiest but most effective types of videos to use. Module number 7 is video equipment and software, quality options from free to advanced. So we talk about the best video cameras to buy based on your budget, the video editing software you might already own that you can use to edit your videos, as well as which video editing software to buy if you're on a budget. Module number 8 is lighting techniques and equipment from free to advanced. So how to use natural light in your videos and where to position yourself and your camera. An overview of studio lights and when to use them, and the simple guide to setting up your studio lights, even if you're in a small room. So if you need to set up lights, whether it's more like studio lights, I give some cheap options for that, or you just want to set up some lamps, in your area, I give you tips on how to do that. Module 9 is getting great sounding audio in all your videos, no matter your budget. So I'll share the 3 types of microphones you should consider from cheap to professional and how to get the best audio, even if you're using your smartphone. And then number 10 is putting it all together. How do you get your video files online, organized, and ready to sell? So we talk about where to put your video files so they play smoothly on any device, the 2 video hosting options to consider, and the 1 popular video hosting company not to use. You really should not use for your online course videos. So those are the 10 modules. Again, we go step by step. It's not overwhelming information. It's very applicable, action-oriented, and very helpful. So I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, I'm giving you a $50 discount to the podcast listeners here. So if you go to easyvideoforcourses.com, enter in that coupon code of podcast to get $50 off. And you also get that bonus of the DIY video studio guide, which gives my favorite equipment and software to use without breaking the bank. Well, hey, that is easyvideoforcourses.com. Go ahead, check it out. See if it's a good fit for you. There's a money back guarantee. If you're not happy with it or satisfied, just let me know and I'll refund your money. And, my goal really with the podcast, with my courses and resources and videos, that I really want to help course creators with these different tutorials and information and all this good stuff. So I love doing the podcast, but sometimes you need all the information in helpful videos and content that you can access anywhere. So again, go to Easy Video for Courses to check that out. All right, well, that is all for today's podcast. Again, we talked about 7 tips to improve your course videos. The key is to get in the game. It's easy to be overwhelmed. It's easy to not know where to start. That's where these podcasts have come into play. That's why I offer my coaching services, and that's why I have Easy Video for Courses, because I want to help you get in the game. I say this on every podcast, but my goal is to help you to teach many to impact millions. So whether you never buy a course, never hire me for coaching, that's fine. keep coming back to these free podcasts, keep learning, because I want to help create effective course creators who create effective courses who impact millions through their courses. So thanks for listening to the Online Course Coach Podcast.